Wow, that was a quick fade. That was a hard fade there. Did you hard fade me on purpose?
It was hard fading.
Yeah, you're supposed to do a soft fade. Don't do a hard fade on me. Hey, welcome to...
My finger moved faster than I told it to.
Did your finger move too fast? You swat fueling or what? Now, welcome to a brand new week of Student of the Gun Radio. And I'm glad that you're here. I'm glad that you took the time to join us for Student of the Gun Radio. Welcome. Welcome one and all. Is that welcoming? Is that nice enough?
Yeah, that's nice enough. And if you guys like that hard rocking Madison Rising music that is still going in the background, check them out at madisonrising.com.
I gotcha. Well, we are coming to you from the Silencer Shop Studios, and it's silencershop.com, and that's the home of the Glass Case of Emotion. Now, how do they get it? What do they do?
Silencershop.com. It's the easiest way to buy silencers online, period.
Period, full stop, just do it. All right, fantastic. And it is a brand new week here at the Student of the Gun, at the studios at the Student of the Gun University, where we broadcast from. Student of the Gun University is a real place. It is a real physical building and property and all that stuff. It actually exists. And some of you sneaky Googleites out there have found us. Every once in a while, someone will pull up and like walk in and with this wide-eyed look on their faces, and is this it? Yes, it is.
Mm-hmm.
But
we like to keep it low-key.
Yes, I am. Just keep your hand when you show up. Just keep your hands where they can be seen, and a member of the armed security staff will greet you with a smile and ask you just what you're doing. Now, I am your host, Professor Paul Markle, and I just discovered by searching IMDb, you know how your brother and I...
What made you search IMDb?
I'll tell you. I will tell you, Jared. And the other voice is Jared, the digital mastermind, and the Clark Kent-looking dude over there on the other side. No,
some people do call me Superman.
Yeah, some people call you Superman.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so cute. No, I sat down yesterday with your brother and watched Star Wars Episode 4, which was the first one, which is, I know, it's all upside down weird. But anyway, the original Star Wars. And the movie ended, and we were watching the credits, and it's, obviously the top three, Carrie Fisher, Mark Hamill, and Harrison Ford are the top three. And then the very next one up is Peter Cushing. And Zach's like, what? He's big enough to get top billing? I said, he was in 1977. He's like, oh, because I never heard of him. Who is he? And I said, well, Peter Cushing was a pretty famous actor back in the 50s, 60s, and 70s. He passed away, I think, in 94. But so being the uber movie geek that I am, I IMDb'd, because that's what I do when I watch movies at home. I IMDb the movie on my phone.
I think that's what a lot of people do.
I think, yeah, I'm sure they do. And I was just curious to see what other movies he was in after Star Wars, and it wasn't that many. Because he was by the time Star Wars, he was born in 1913. So by the time Star Wars came around, he was in his golden years. But he was in a movie. Oh, I don't have it in front of me. My phone's outside of the glass case. But he was in a werewolf.
Legend of the Werewolf.
He was in a movie called The Legend of the Werewolf. And his character in that movie was?
Professor Paul.
Yes, his character's name was Professor Paul in the movie The Legend of the Werewolf. Is that like 75 or something?
Yeah, 75.
1975. So there you have it. So that was the IMDb geek moment there. And I had no idea that was even a thing until
That's funny.
Yesterday.
Yeah, because you sent me a screenshot of it, and I was like, what? I didn't get it at first, and then I looked at the name, and it said Professor Paul. I was like, holy cow, I didn't know you were in a movie.
Yeah, 1975. The Legend of the Werewolf. I'm sure that was a classic in 75. So anyway, here we are. We're back in the studios. We're yakking and talking, and just once, I'd like to go one day without the death cult, the 7th century death cult killing people. But apparently in the modern world that we live in the 21st century, we've gotten all the way into the 21st century, and we're kind of on a decline because apparently we don't learn our lessons from the past. We just keep making the same mistakes over and over again. And
isn't that how you learn?
Well, you're supposed to learn from your mistakes so that you don't keep making them.
I thought you just kept doing it over and over again the same way.
Yeah, that just hoping
until
to get
something
a different
different.
Get a different result. But it is Monday, and we're going to have our SWAT Fuel Warrior of the week. But before we do that, we want to thank our friends at Brownells, Brownells.com, where you can buy Frog Lube, the regular and the extreme. And Frog Lube isn't just the CLP. You're like, CLP, isn't that a brand name? No, CLP is generic. It's like tissue. It's cleaner lubricant protectant. And lots of companies make a product that they call a CLP product. And Frog Lube is one of them. And just real quick, as a quick aside, I posted a picture last week on the social media, or Zach did, that I was frog lubing my sword. And they're like, why would you want to do that? Well, if you have a knife, a blade, a whatever that is a high carbon steel, it's a high carbon steel, you need to lubricate it. Like, how would I know that? Well, generally high carbon steel is black, not silver. And
so we need to frog lube our microphones.
We need to frog lube our microphones. Yeah, you got to be careful. Just don't get it in the little cracks and stuff. But you say, well, I don't want that kind of knife. Well, you do want that kind of knife because why? Because carbon makes the knife easier to sharpen, and it makes the blade sharp, or it helps to keep a sharp edge. That's why cold steel makes a lot of high carbon steel blades, is because they're crazy sharp. They're like, and obviously well, not obviously, but what I was frog lubing was the Gladius from Cold Steel. What are you looking at, Crazy? You got that weird look on your face over there, like you're not sure what you're looking at.
Okay, look at your microphone, and then look at mine. So I got these shock absorbers from the exact same place. They came in at the exact same time, and I'm trying to figure out why mine has a bigger, like, microphone hole.
What?
And where I had to wrap mine in some, like, foamy stuff to make it fit, but yours fits perfect.
Yeah, that doesn't make any sense because they're supposed to be identical.
I just noticed that, but anyway,
I digress.
Yeah.
Hey, you want to talk about Duracoat a little bit? Because A, life is too short to have an ugly gun, and B, what else is going on at Duracoat?
The gun tattoos. If you have not got that yet, that was your homework last week. So
that's right. Woohoo!
That if you didn't do that yet, go to lauerweaponry.com and you can click on the little gun tattoo thing. Actually, don't do that. Go to the Student of the Gun mobile app.
Yeah.
Like I set up a tab for you guys.
Did you forget that you did that last week?
Scratch that, reverse.
Reverse it.
Go to Student of the Gun mobile app on your Apple device or your Google Play device, and the bottom right tab says Gun Tat.
Gun Tat. That's right. Tap the Gun Tat, and then you can order it says SOTG logo is a specific one. And I'm really looking forward to you hippies out there doing a Duracoat project and sending us some pictures.
Yes, me too.
That's your homework. Do that. All right, it is Monday, and because it's Monday, that means it's our SWAT Fuel Warrior of the Week. This is your opportunity to be famous. And you can tell all your friends and call your relatives and send them the link and all that stuff. So,
and while you're doing that, if you do end up being famous, I need you to email Alex, ALEX, at studentofthegun.com. Send her your name, mailing address, phone number, and include your email address typed in the body. That will get you your free bottle of 9mm plus P.
From SWAT Fuel. But how do they do that?
How do they do what?
How do they contact us?
You go to the Student of the Gun mobile app, click the Call Us tab, then click the Warrior of the Week line. You call in, and you'll hear Alex's pretty voice give you instructions on what to do, and then you do that. Leave us a message. If we play on the radio, then you are the winner of the Warrior of the Week.
Woo! And you can be famous.
Famous.
You know you want to.
Yeah.
Hi, Professor Paul. This is Kellen in southeastern Minnesota. I'm wondering what ideas or suggestions you may have for low-light training. If we assume and think about that home invasions and such could happen at night, what advice you might have for low light training. Thanks very much.
All right. Well, good question. That is an excellent question. And the truth of the matter is many gun owners, I would say not most, but a good number of people who own firearms for self-protection and self-defense rarely consider the fact that they're probably most likely going to have to use that gun to defend themselves in a low light, diminished light, or dark situation. If you look at the FBI stats on violent attacks on law enforcement officers, most felonious attacks on law enforcement officers, the majority, something like 62% or 65%, depending on the year that you look at the stats, but it's always more than half. The majority of those happen in either a what they call dark or diminished light. And you're like, diminished light? Well, what are you talking about? Okay, you're in a building and there's no lights on, or you're in a darkened hallway, or you're in a basement, or you're somewhere where the light is poor, or it's just dark outside. Either way, chances are really high, at least 50-50, that if you're carrying a gat, if you've got some kind of a gun for home defense or self-defense or whatever, when you have to use that gun, it's going to be dark, or the lighting conditions are going to be poor. But how many of us ever actually train or practice in darkness? Well, we don't, right? You do the exact opposite. People go to the range on really nice sunny days. People go to indoor ranges where they're very well lit. Because why? Well, I need to see my target. I need to see those, those really tight shot groups. I need to see those. It makes me feel good. Well, I understand that makes you feel good to see, nice. It's harder to shoot when it's dark, so I don't want to do that because my shot groups won't look as good. Yeah, I got you. But are we playing a game here, or are we preparing to defend our lives? And if you're preparing to defend your life, one of the things you need to do is you need to engage in realistic training scenarios, or you need to train in situations that you might actually need to fight in. Law enforcement officers discovered long ago that they needed to alter their training and their annual qualifications and practice and so forth to reflect reality. Actually, there was a court case, a Supreme Court case that came out of that said that law enforcement officers actually, by law, must be trained in environments which they are expected to perform in. So for you, now, Jared, should I go ahead and do the training practice thing?
Yes.
Because apparently not everybody gets that.
Yeah, and we have a lot of new listeners.
Okay. People often interchange the words training and practice and just consider that they're the exact same thing. People will say, I went to the range this weekend and trained. Or, I went to the gym and trained. Or, I'm going to ask you this. When you went to the range this weekend and trained, was it just you and ammo and a gun and you shot at a target? You're like, well, yeah, that's training. No, it's not. It's practice. Well, you're just, it's just parsing words. No, actually, I'm not parsing words. When you consider what you do, how can you teach yourself? Now, you can discover, if you're intellectually honest and are able to focus and have clarity of mind, you can discover things. You can discover errors, and you can discover problems and what have you. But the fact is you can't really train yourself. You can practice yourself, and you can develop good habits or bad habits. But the fact of the matter is training, as we define it here, is some type of an organized event or a deliberate event where you close your mouth, open your ears, and spend some time with a third party, a subject matter expert. And I don't care if it's driving or medical training or shooting training or learning how to, Jared, how many times have you been stuck in the editing, digital marketing, whatever world, and you needed to get someone on the phone? And even though you're looking at it, you see what you see, you know what you've got, you know how the program is supposed to work, but you still can't get it. And it just takes another third party.
Yep. Yeah, that's happened a lot. And one of the things that, especially recently, we've been migrating our systems, as you guys probably know by now. And there's been times that I'm like, I've done this before. And I know that I know how to do it. But I just couldn't remember how it's done.
I'm stuck. I'm stumped.
I'm stuck. So I would call or chat with a support agent. And I'm like, all it took was like them to say one sentence. I'm like, oh, okay, now I remember. And yeah,
sometimes you need a third party because we get so used to doing what we do, what we want to do. We get so set in our ways that we can't even see what we're missing. And when it comes to firearms training, most people, you can't see what you're doing wrong. You're like, oh man, I don't understand why my rounds aren't going where they're supposed to, or why I'm inconsistent, or I don't understand why. Well, you don't understand why because you can't step back and look at yourself. It's very difficult to step back and look at yourself and evaluate your own performance. But you spend a few hours with a third party who has experience and education, and they can point it out. They're like, hey, why don't you do a little bit of this, or did you know that you're doing this, or did you realize you're doing that? And you're like, oh, no, I didn't even realize that's what I was doing. So the whole reason that I'm talking about this is because we're talking about low light. Now, what training, it's difficult to get low light training. And that's just the reality of the world. It is very difficult because when the light is poor, it's harder for the instructor to see you. It's harder for one instructor to manage several students, And most schools that do low light training do not offer it as an introductory. You have to take a prerequisite course or two before they will let you do low light training. As a matter of fact, most of them, the low light shooting is it's in their advanced training packages, right? And you say, but damn, Paul, if that's in the advanced training package, but it's something that I'm probably going to have to do, shouldn't they be doing that earlier on? Yeah. It's kind of a weird catch-22. People don't want to shoot in the dark because they don't look as cool and their groups aren't as tight, so they don't want to do it. And those that do want to do it, the instructors in the classes in the schools are very overly cautious or extremely cautious about letting people shoot at night because they can't control, what they're doing. But I will tell you this, if you have the opportunity to get into a training class that shoots in the dark, you want to do it. You absolutely want to do that because it's not the same as putting on sunglasses or, a welder's mask over your face or whatever. It's not the same. Putting on, dark tinted glasses is not the same as shooting in the dark. It just doesn't represent it. But I'll tell you this. If you have had some education, some experience, you know what you're doing, and you want to practice, there's two good ways to do it. Number one, if you can, unfortunately, most public ranges, they have real hard, strict after-hours policies. As soon as the sun goes down, the range is closed. No shooting after dark. So that doesn't really do you any good. If you're fortunate enough to have access to a range where you can shoot after the sun goes down, rock on, good job. Or you can go indoors. A lot of small indoor ranges, if you come really early or you stay really late, you're able to be there by yourself, walk over and hit the light switch and turn off 50% of the lights. Now, you don't want to be in complete darkness because shooting in complete darkness is kind of ridiculous because you need to be able to see what you're shooting at, correct? We just don't launch bullets at shadows and hope that they hit the thing we want it to hit. But you need to understand that the light will be diminished. There'll be heavy shadows and so forth. So that's one of my tricks. I've been doing that for years. If I'm the only one at the range and I can reach over and turn off. Thank you, Alex. Turn off half of the lights. I will do that. Just flick them off. And people are like, "What are you doing? Why'd you turn the lights off?" I'm like, because I want to shoot in the dark. Why would you want to shoot in the dark? Or why would you want to shoot when it's dark? Because that's
It's not always light outside.
Because that's probably when I'm going to have to use this gun is when the light is crappy.
Don't you spend 50% of your life in the dark?
Yes, you do. Yes, you do. So I would recommend that you search around. I know all the big schools have some type of a low light class. You know, your Tactical Response, your TDI Ohio, Gun Sight, the big schools, they all do. They have some type of low light class that you can get into. And at very least, what you could do, let's say, if you're practicing with your flashlight or what have you, just turn all the lights out in your house and walk around with your flashlight and get used to the heavy shadows and you know, if you have a 200 lumen flashlight or some of these like crazy 300, 400 lumens, and you turn it on right next to a bright, like a white wall, it can actually can blind you. Or temporarily blind you.
When Alex and I went to the concert last week, they were doing a no recording thing. You couldn't take pictures or record. So what they did is they had like red shirt people. I don't know what you call them. I guess they're technically called security guards, standing by the front of the stage. And anybody that they saw with a camera pointing at the stage, they would take their flashlight and they'd shine it into the lens of the camera. And their flashlights were pretty bright, but I think mine's brighter. Mm-hmm. So I was like, let them shine that in my face. I'll play this game with you.
I'll play your little game. I'll play your silly little flashlight game.
Yeah. It was interesting. But it's funny because everybody else there would use their light from their cell phone to get around. And I'm like, you just bring a flashlight and you could have flashlighted these people back in the face and see how they like it.
I got a 200 lumen Surefire.
I paid to come to this concert. I can take pictures.
That's really kind of crazy. I mean, since I've been going to concerts, it's you and I, you know, they do the no professional recording equipment.
Yeah.
But how do you stop people with phones?
Yeah. Well, I guess they figured out how to do it.
Oh, well, yeah, I guess.
Because if you shine a light in the camera, you can't take a picture.
Yeah, well, that's true, but still, that's kind of...
I managed to get a couple videos.
That's kind of crazy.
Yeah. I don't... It doesn't matter what video you're watching. It's never going to compare to the live experience, so I don't understand.
Right. I mean, it's like, are people going to stop going to live concerts because there's YouTube?
No.
Oh, I saw that on YouTube. I'm not even going to bother to go to the concert. Yeah. Okay. And it's not like they're doing something secret. Like, oh, we're releasing this secret song that no one else is allowed to hear.
You know how easy it is to make electronic music now?
Very.
Yeah. Can I show you?
Sure.
Okay. Let me pull something up real quick.
Oh,
I'm about to show you. This is going to be from scratch right now. All right. Using my iDevice.
To do is add some lyrics.
Yeah.
I just have to add lyrics and maybe a guitar and I've got it.
Yeah, I was like...
And that was with your iPhone?
Yep.
That's crazy. That's crazy talk. Crazy talk. All right, well, good question for the Warrior of the Week. Make sure that you send Alex your name, email address, phone number, all that stuff so you can get your SWAT Fuel 9mm plus B. Oh, and thank you, Jared. Thank everybody who left SWAT Fuel comments this last week.
Oh, yeah. I was actually looking for some of those to everybody in the grad program. I asked you guys for reviews of SWAT Fuel, and I was trying to find some to read, but I can't find the thread.
You're a dork.
Yeah, it's buried in there. The grad program Facebook page, the group there is so active that I couldn't find it.
Really? I swear I just saw it. Seriously.
Yeah, I'll have to look for it.
Okay, but maybe we can do that tomorrow.
Yeah, I did find a review. Lou Vitt sent me a review that he left for the Honey Badger book, and I would like to read that. Can I read that?
Yeah, go ahead.
It's actually really good. He says, as a follower of Professor Paul Markel via his social media and podcasts, I was immediately excited at the announcement for the release of his book. While I continuously strive for more and more knowledge, I find that in nearly every case I fall asleep when I try to read a book. Team Honey Badger is one of less than 12 books that I've read from cover to cover for pure enjoyment and interest. As a veteran and someone who has worn a uniform in some capacity all my life, I find this book in tune with how I wish my child to be: confident, kind, selfless, and when need be, fearless. This is a book that even if you walked away with just one thing more, it was worth the price. And that was, thank you, Lou, for sending me that review. It was very nice of you. If you guys want to, if you haven't got the Honey Badger book yet and you want to pick it up, go to studentleongear.com and it's on there.
We'll even sign it for you.
Yeah, but that was nice. That was a nice review.
Very cool. Thank you very much for that. All right, let's move on. Let's talk about, let's thank our friends at Velocity Triggers.
Superior quality and value.
There you go, velocitytriggers.com.
Tom texted me and asked if we were at SHOT because he wanted to have breakfast together like we do every year.
Nope. Didn't do it. Didn't do it this year. We're not, and I'm not even going to talk about it right now. So, but Crossbreed Holsters, the sweetest smelling. No, Crossbreed Holsters. You carrying a gun? You're not. Why not? Because I can't find a comfortable holster. Crossbreedholsters.com. They have, if you want to be an armed citizen, they can help you out. They have something for you. Century Arms, the sweetest smelling arms maker in the United States. Buy your AK now, or don't. It's up to you. You're an American.
I recommend doing it now.
Well, but I don't want to. I'm thinking about it.
Then don't. I don't care. Whatever.
I'm thinking about buying a gun. I love the people that are, I'm thinking about it. I'm not concerned. So what are you going to do? You're gonna wait until they're $1,000 and then you're going to buy one then, or then you're going to complain that you can't find one? Is that what you're going to do?
Was it you that sent me the little meme thing for a person that is an ask hole?
An ask hole?
Yeah.
No, it wasn't me.
The definition is somebody that asks for your advice and then continues to do the opposite of what you tell them.
Oh, it's kind of like we talked about last week.
Yeah.
Like, people say, hey, man, what do you recommend for? And then you tell them, and they're like, well, yeah, but I already bought this. Then why the frick did you ask me?
So don't be an asshole. Go buy your AK.
Oh, man. Well, we've got it's kind of a go-team moment. You know what, Jared? Can you give this guy a go-team moment? I think he absolutely deserves one. And even though it's posthumously, but let's give it to him. That's why I say amen, I shot. All right. Thank you, Filter, for the Go Team Moment Nice Shot theme song. An armed Pakistani teacher is hailed as a hero after Taliban terrorist attack. So what have we got here? And this is story dateline January 20th, and by the time you hear this, there's probably going to be 3 or 4 updates. It says, after terrorists killed about 150 people at a school in northwest Pakistan 13 months ago, officials started arming teachers and gave them weapons training. Question, I'm going to ask you this. How many of you in the Student of the Gun listening audience remember or are even aware of the fact that the 7th century death cult Muslim missionaries murdered 150 people at a school in Pakistan a year ago? How many times have you heard Comrade Barry or his minions, his many minions? How many times have they come out and talked about this? What a tragedy it was, and how terrible it was, and how we need to do things, and so forth, and help these people. And so, how many times in the last 13 months has that come up? And you might be scratching your head. You're like, well, I kind of maybe remember when that first happened, but no, I haven't heard him talk about it. You know why? Because who were the perpetrators? Who killed 150 people in that school in Pakistan? Was it Buddhist monks? Was it Southern Baptist preachers? It was, I guess it was Catholic nuns and missionaries that killed those people. No, it wasn't. It was his favorite team, his favorite victim group, the 7th century death cult known as Islam. And please don't forget that the 7th century death cult of Islam also Let me see. Where were they spreading their message of peace, love, and brotherhood? Well, in Kenya. In Kenya, on April 2nd, 2015, that's less than 1 year ago, the Muslim missionaries representing the 7th century death cult known as Islam attacked a college in Kenya and killed 147 dead as Islamist gunmen. An Islamist gunman killed after the attack at the Kenyan college. Ask yourself that. Seriously. Ask your friends. Ask your good liberal pro-Obama, friends. Why don't they care about people being murdered in schools in Kenya and Pakistan and in India? Why don't they care about that? They'll spend hours upon hours, millions of dollars trying to convince you to disarm yourself because 3 kids got killed at a school in America. 150 murdered by death cult missionaries. And you're good, they're like, cricket, cricket, cricket. Now, this is a go-team. You're like, well, how is this a go-team moment? Well, as you follow up, like the debate over guns in schools in the United States and elsewhere, the move was controversial. That's right. Because the good leftists over all across the world, they're like, oh, you can't give guns to teachers. You can't show teachers how to use guns because it'll be anarchy and more good people will die. It's kind of like what was that douche nozzle that wrote an op-ed for the USA Today about the myth of the armed good guy. Remember that, Jared? Just recently? Arming good guys to fight against terrorists is not the answer. Because there's no way that they can make a difference. And as a matter of fact, according to James Hatch, the disgraced veteran who writes for USA Today, if you arm good guys, there'll be even more casualties than there would have been otherwise. Yes, he said that an armed good guy, because they're not professionals. Jared, do you suppose this teacher in Pakistan was a professional? Was he a spec ops guy like Mr. Hatch claims to be?
I would say no.
No. But regardless, despite the cacophony and the whining and the crying from the left across the world, in Pakistan, they decided, you know what? I remember the stories. I remember when they were taking the teachers out and showing them what a gun was. This is a gun, and this is how it works, and this is how you shoot it. Well, last week, some Muslim missionaries walked into another school in Pakistan and decided that they were going to kill people because that's what they do. They are a death cult, and you need to get it through your freaking head. But according to Agence France Presse, Saeed Hamid Hussein, an assistant chemistry professor, pulled out his pistol and began firing at 2 of the attackers as they neared his classroom. But the 27-year-old teacher was outgunned by the militants, who were armed with assault rifles. Well, there, of course. After a gun battle, Hussein was killed, student says. Still, students at the college in Charsada, about 30 miles from Peshawar, said Hussein is a hero. By pulling out his weapons, they told the reporters, their teacher gave them the time to escape.
Yeah, but he didn't stop the terrorists, so obviously it's not going to work.
Well, he got killed. You know what? Greater love hath no man than to lay down his life for his brothers. I saw a bullet hit him, a student told AFP. I saw 2 militants were firing. I ran inside and managed to flee, jumping over the back wall. In an interview with Washington Post, another student confirmed that Hussein took out his pistol as the attack unfolded. Saeed Malik, 22, a geology student, said that he and some friends rushed out of their room when they heard the gunfire. We saw the professor standing there with gun in hand. He told us to rush back to our rooms and do not open the door for anyone.
I have a quote for you. You want to hear it?
Mm-hmm.
If we could just save one life,
it would be worth it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Folks, I don't know how many more times we have to tell you this. And here's the sad thing. Student of the Gun is telling you this. Student of the Gun is highlighting this story. Student of the Gun is talking about this story. Student of the Gun is comparing past history versus what's happening now. So the last time the Muslim missionaries attacked a school in Pakistan, they murdered 150. This time, the death toll was 20. You think, and what was the difference between the previous 150-person murder and the 20? An armed good guy.
Oh, those don't make a difference.
Oh, that's right. It doesn't. Those 130 lives doesn't matter. Next time someone tells you that armed good guys don't make a difference, that, the terrorists are going to be, they're going to have assault rifles, and it's going to be, you're going to be overwhelmed by firepower. You shouldn't even try. The next time the James Hatches of the world come forth and tell you that don't even try to make a difference. You shouldn't even try because even special forces operators make mistakes in gunfights. You know what this was, Jared?
What?
This wasn't a shooting.
It was a gunfight.
It was a gunfight. What's a shooting?
There's one party.
Yeah.
Shooting.
A shooting is when one side has guns and the other side doesn't. A gunfight is when both sides do. And they get to fight to decide who gets to stay alive. I tip my proverbial hat to this teacher. We give him an honorary Go Team moment. And I'm going to tell you, the next time someone tells you or you read or you hear or you see a story about armed good guys don't make a difference, say, seems like it made a difference in this case. Seems like it always makes a difference.
What does the professor grade this guy?
I'm going to give him an A.
Give him an A+.
I'm going to give this guy an A. All right, that is the beginning. We're just getting fired up and getting started here for a new week of Student of the Gun Radio. Thank you very much for joining us. Remember, you're a beginner once, but you should indeed be a student for life.